welcome back to another video. This is a workbench video with a kind of a channel update attached to it. I'm just going to show you what I've gotten completed in the last couple of weeks, but with the caveat that I haven't uploaded a video in about 6 weeks. And I just want to start there. I'm going to show off what I've gotten up to, but just give me 2 seconds or 2 minutes and I'll talk about why I haven't uploaded anything. If you know from my previous channel videos, kind of had a very crippling bout of depression the last couple of months, and it's been really stopping me from doing a whole lot. I haven't really done anything really apart from go to work and come home. I still have painted, so there is stuff to show, but essentially it was based off of my son needed to go. He's 9 years old. He just turned 9. He had to go to Sick Kids in Toronto for surgery on his intestines, and I was uploading videos pretty much once a week, once every couple of weeks, up until 4 or 5 days before he went for that surgery, because my brain, after just in that period of time, my brain just couldn't process hobby time. So although I was hobbying, I couldn't talk about it or take a video of it for the channel. It just didn't seem important. And then when I went to Sick Kids, although his surgery turned out to have a good ending and he's perfectly fine, the visit to Sick Kids and being in the surgical wing, and it brought on a severe bout of depression once I left the hospital, because that was like hell on earth for me. Sick Kids is a great place for, we're so thankful that we have that around, and all the people there were so amazing. All the nurses and doctors and administration staff, they were just so great. But everywhere you looked, there was just an astounding amount of pain going on in people's faces and in their expressions, and it was just a lot to deal with. And for someone who suffers from crippling anxiety and depression, when I came home from that, I kind of needed to decompress for a while, and so I haven't uploaded. So that's the reason why I haven't uploaded. I did make this video prior to this about a month ago and was going to upload it, but my rambling about the depression went on for about 25 minutes after about an 8-minute showcase of my stuff. And I review all my videos to make sure I didn't screw up too badly or say anything weird. And when I re-listened to that video, I thought, you know what, no one wants to hear me bitch and complain. So there we are, cut down from 25 minutes to 2 minutes. I'm going to show you what I've been up to. Now, one of my favorite eras is World War I. I have an entire Canadian division and German regiment for World War I and 6mm for Great War Spearhead, and I love that game. I'm looking forward to getting some more terrain, because that's one of my issues here. I don't have a lot of terrain, but I'm looking forward to getting a lot of 6mm terrain painted up, and so I can showcase that game, because it really is a unique experience in wargaming. But that what I have here is I have what I've painted. I got 28mm Germans from Wargames Atlantic and 28mm French. This was part of, I didn't buy them as a bundle, but it was part of the Blood and Plunder guys. What's that rule set called? Blood and Valor. It's the World War I version of Blood and Plunder. And I had the rule book for about, 6 months before I got the 2 plastic sets. And I'm just going to pause the video, put the guys out from their display cases. Again, usually in my videos I have everything put out in front of me, because that's basically where I paint it, and I just kind of move it aside, and then I just put the camera down and we look at it. Because it's been 6 weeks, I put them in these little cases and I put them away. So I'm just going to bring them back out. Just bear with me, be right back in about 5 seconds. Okay, so I just laid out in front of me the German part of that. It is essentially one entire box of the Wargames Atlantic German World War I figures. From that, just as a little aside here, the guys from Blood and Valor, or Blood and Plunder, whatever they're called, I can't remember their actual name of their company, they have a bundle. If you buy the rule book and the 2 boxes, German and French, you get a kind of a deal on it. Now, I didn't buy the bundle or get the deal. I didn't care. I bought these completely separately. But because it was a bundle in my mind, when I seen it was a bundle, when I was assembling them and doing the list building, I thought there's going to be lots of options. Well, there's really, when you get 1 box of Germans and 1 box of French, you can only do 2 things with them. The first thing is you can make riflemen, and we have 2 units here. Sorry, my hand, I was priming. 2 units of bog standard German infantry, both with rifles. And each group has a single machine gunner. You see him right here. I'll zoom in a second, but each group has 9 riflemen and a machine gunner. Here's the machine gunner. You then get enough figures to make 6 stormtroopers and 3 command figures. And that basically leaves you with nobody left over. And maybe you have 1 figure left over. But in the rulebook, Blood and Plunder, there's several options for different. There's trench raiders, there's stormtroopers, there's different types of units the German army can field. And out of the Wargames Atlantic box set, you only really get a ton of riflemen and a couple of machine gunners, like the heavy and medium machine gunners. And then for stormtroopers and trench raiders, you really don't get a whole lot. Especially the Germans, they get like submachine guns, like early submachine guns. There's only 1 submachine gun arm in the entire box per frame. So if you get 6 frames or 5 frames, you get 5 submachine gunners. So you'll see here's, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 submachine gunners and 1 guy who's got a rifle, because there wasn't enough machine gun arms in the box to create even a single unit of, I think a single unit, I can't remember exactly how many goes in the box or how many goes in each squad, but 6 I think it is, of submachine gun armed troops. So the problem with that is I might be able to make 5, you might be able to make a 4 or 5 man squad, but all of the arms are exactly the same. And if I just zoom into regular zoom here, I'll bring them up. Just excuse my blurriness. If you just see them, they all have the machine gun right up next to their chest. And I think that's the machine gun. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it is. So they all have exactly the same pose. The only way I could make it any different is by some sitting, some standing. This guy here doesn't even have a submachine gun. I think I must only have 4 in the pack. He's got a pistol. Yeah, that's right, he's got a pistol. He didn't even have enough. And then this guy here I made with the... So you can see the problem I have with that is that it didn't have enough. I gave this guy here the rifle, and he's got his shovel, and he's going to crack someone over the head. So that was my only gripe about the box, is that there wasn't enough options in the box for... Now, when I say there wasn't enough options, what do I expect? I don't expect there to be like 50,000 different types of rifles and machine guns and whatever. It's World War I. It's mainly rifles. My problem is that they use it in a bundle with the rule set, and you had to make a lot of choices, like tough choices, to get a valid list for the game out of the box. That's my only gripe. Anyway, maybe Wargames Atlantic will expand the range a little bit, and you'll be able to get all kinds of different things. Let's see. So I'll just go back in and show the squad a little closer. So here's the first squad. Now, I painted these very generically. This is not the standard of painting that I would normally allow myself to stop at. I would usually go maybe 1 stage or 2 stage higher than this. But like I said on my previous video, if you watch them, is that I have to use my time wisely. I just have too many things on the go to be this picky. So I have forcefully, and it's painful, I don't really like the look of them, but it's painful process for someone who's kind of like anally retarded like me to bring my painting level down so I can increase the amount of models that I've got. And I'll show you what I got done in the last week. Well, remember, this is recorded 6 weeks after, but this 2-week slot of workbench videos, I'll show you what I got painted, which is quite a lot for me. But all of them, I sacrificed the painting, just so you know. So there's nothing amazing or wonderful here. But you can definitely use them on the tabletop, and I can't wait to get a couple of games in. Now, this is a very small game. Like, I don't really have a lot of figures, and there's my boy waiting for me to play ball with him. He's like a dog. Look at him. Anyway, he always comes down with me. He has to be down here with me, or things aren't right in the world. Anyway, now, just so you know, he's not like a cuddly cat. If I go to pet him, he bites the crap out of me. He'll scratch my arm up to hell. But essentially, he wants to be around all the time. And he's very upset that I'm not playing with the ball. Look. Anyway, I'll get to you, buddy. I'll get to you. And look, the ball's coming closer and closer and closer. All right. Yeah, so I brought my painting level down, and I'm just going to have to be happy with it. And you know what? It's okay. But we'll take a look at the command squad. Now, here's the captain, or the lieutenant, Hauptmann, or lieutenant, whatever you want to call him. Although the uniform is very basic, I tried to do the face a little bit better, this flesh, just so there's something a focal point to look at. And again, my lighting in this room is not the best. I'm in the basement again. It's a very overcast day, so there's not a lot of light coming in through the tiny windows that I have. But yeah, that's the captain, and he leads the squad, and here's his little buddy that goes with him. Just kind of pointing. This guy's gonna hurl a grenade. I put the soft cap on him just to give the force a little bit of variety, although I'm not exactly sure how useful that would be. I don't think the captain would allow him to go out like that. But anyway, then there's another exactly the same squad. The ball is now a lot closer. Here we go. And the table's shut because he's heading off. Anyway, so the second set is exactly the same as the first. There's just some pose variations, but essentially because I said about the issues with the limitations of the box, you basically have to mirror the squads. You can't make anything unique. Although, how unique, I don't know how unique you'd have. But anyway, that is the... my complaint about the box set is kind of moot because of the issues with World War I fighting. Like, there wasn't a lot of variety like there was in World War II. But essentially, that is the German side. There's 30 or 29 figures. I think you get 30 in the box, so there's one left over. And if I just pause here, I'll be back with the French. Okay, bad cut there, but here's the French. Now, the French are a little lighter colored, obviously, because they're like a baby blue color. But the Germans look a little darker on camera, whereas the French look probably a little better. If I can zoom into regular zoom, you can see the blue really comes out there. Now, getting the blue right was actually a real pain in the ass. I'll be honest. I did not enjoy that experience trying to get the blue correct, or what I thought was correct. So I settled on this. I made the coats a little lighter than the helmets just to give it a little bit of a breakup. I'm not sure if they're lighter or darker. In some photos, the colorized photos, the blue helmet looks really blue versus the light blue overcoat or trench coat. But in other photos, they look the same. So I compromised and made one just a tiny bit different. And you'll see it really well, I think, on this guy here. We'll show it to you. Essentially, it's the same color on the entire uniform, except I did not dry brush the helmet as much as the coat and the pants. So again, I took my painting level down a bit just to get them done, and both forces, so that's 60 figures almost, 58 figures, both forces were done in about 4 days, which I can't complain. Now, I work full time, like 10 hours a day, so it's not as if I have a great deal of time. I use painting as a form of stress relief and to help me with my anxiety. And the more anxious I am, the more nervous I am, the more I paint. So some days I'll paint all day, other days I'll paint for an hour. Some days I can't stand it and I'll just watch TV. But here's the French. I don't have as much problem with the French box as I did with the German box because the French army lists in the Blood and Valor rule set, they do have some funky units, but all of the units basically, and you're coming over to say hello, aren't you, Cat? All the units basically use rifles with some light machine guns. So there wasn't the need for the machine gun arm, which I don't even think there was one in the French box. There was specialty units like the Harlem Hellfighters. There was the African units. I think there was a French Foreign Legion. I can't remember. And trench raiders. But all of them had the rifle, so I didn't need a variety of different weapon arms. So I'm quite a bit happier. This set makes a lot more sense for that rule set. Anyway, I'll just move the camera here a little bit. There's 2 rifle squads. Number 1, both 10-man units. Number 2, both of them have like the little light machine gun. There's 2 right there. I got a unit of 6 trench raiders. They're not stormtroopers like the German box. They're just trench raiders. And the command. I'll show you the lieutenant first. Here he is. I really like the figures in this box. The German figures, they were good, but for some reason these French figures seem a lot nicer. I don't know, it's just a personal preference. But there's him. He's got his little dude, which I showed you earlier. And he's got, obviously, his guy throwing a grenade, just like the Germans. And then there is the, I guess I'll just show you a bog standard rifleman. No point in going over this in too much detail. They're all the same. And we'll show you the machine gunner. Very good for skirmishing. And then there is the trench raiders, which, because I didn't need machine guns, they have their little rudimentary gas masks on. He's got a shovel there, but to crack someone over the head with it. There's the enemy is over there guy. You always get one of those in each unit usually. And we'll show you one more. We'll show you the guy throwing the captured German grenades. So that's the trench raiders. There's 6 of them. So yeah, that is the Blood and Valor group. So 58 figures. Took me a few days. And I'm just going to pause here and bring out the next thing that I got done. Okay, and this is the next project. I have the camera way off of the table now. That's why you get the shaky cam, just so I could get them all in focus. This is 8mm Eldar for Titanicus, my Apocalypse, Horus Heresy gaming. Now in the Horus Heresy, I wanted a force, a Xeno force that my legions could fight. That would seem thematic, like a Great Crusade style. I mean, even during the Horus Heresy, they fought the Orcs and the Eldar and whoever. It wasn't like those aliens went away during the Horus Heresy. So I wanted a force like that I could use for wargaming. Let's bring the camera back down. That I could use for wargaming, using my 8mm Horus Heresy figures in a Xeno battle. So these are the Eldar I chose. I did already have 6mm Epic 40K or Epic Armageddon Bel Tan Eldar, the green guys, and I painted those up amazing. I was really happy with them, but they took forever. I probably had around 600 figures to paint and maybe 150 vehicles to paint. And because I spent so much time painting them, I only got around 300 figures painted and maybe 70 vehicles painted. So there was lots left over, and I never managed to complete a project. So going with the previous statement of saying I'm trying to lower my standards, again, I lowered my standards and I didn't paint every single panel line. For these ones, I just used actually contrast paint over white primer. So I used Basilicanum Gray over white primer, and then I just gave them orange and white highlights. Now the cockpits are white, not because I didn't want to paint them, but these I wanted to have white to show off the color scheme a little better. And there's my cat running off with the ball. I wanted them to kind of look like Wraithbone. So I left them white. I didn't make them any fancy jewel colors. And it saved a lot of time, quite frankly. But what we have here is we have the Aspect Warriors. We got the Striking Scorpions, the Howling Banshees. They both have vehicles, transports. We got the Swooping Hawks, which don't need transports. We got the bike dudes, whatever they're called, the Vipers, or whatever, Shining Spears, whatever they are. They don't need transports because they're on bikes. We got the Dire Avengers, and we got the, what are those guys called? Phantoms, something like that. So those are the 6 Aspect Warriors that we have with the Force. Then over here we have the Guardians. We got 20 bases of them, and each of them have transport. Whereas this is the Falcon. It's more like a tank hybrid transport. These are just the transports, whatever they're called. I can't remember now. Anyway, they have the regular transports. These guys have the kind of the tank transports. In the back, we got the first set of twins, the Revenants, and then we got another set over there. We got a Phantom and a Warlock, along with 2 fighters, 3 heavy tanks, and then 2 sets of 3 fire prisms. Now, these are all 3D printed by myself. I didn't find these anywhere. I just spent a while 3D printing them after I found the files. And I seen a really cool Adeptus Titanicus, the 2018 version, someone had made an Eldar force of just Titans, and I loved the look of them so much. I just had to imitate them, and it went a little bit beyond the actual Titans, and I painted more figures to go with them. But I'll give you a little closer up view if I can. Here is the Striking Scorpions. You'll see these Howling Banshees. Hard at this scale to get a good view, but there's the Howling Banshees. The Dire Avengers are a little bit easier to see because they are a lot more colorful. I did not want to do the striping like along the crests there. That was just be too much on the eyes. I did do it for the Swooping Hawks a little bit because their wings are so distinctive. They're a distinctive part of the unit. So there's the Swooping Hawks. Now the Shining Spears are kind of nothing. They're just bog standard bikers. And whatever the hell these things are called. Can't remember now. The heavy support guys. Here's a falchion. Again, you can see the basic painting style. It's just contrast paint over. Now, I could have dry brushed it a little bit, but I didn't bother. For what I want, it's perfectly fine for me. There's a fire prism. Like the camera's shaking because the cat's on the lookout for his ball. He doesn't know where he left it. Oh, he does. It's right beside me. Go on, go get it. What else do we have to show? Oh yes, there's the regular Guardians. Now, each group of Guardians of 2 stands. One has the kind of the cannon, and the other one just has the sort of the commander. Well, one has a cannon as well. But anyway, we'll do the. Let me just put the camera back in a better spot, and I'll show you the Revenant. Now, there's 4 of these. They're all basically the same. Again, same style. Just it looks black, but it's actually really dark gray with orange. So dark gray and orange is the color of the craft world, and white is just the accent. So that is one of the Revenants. I'll show you the Phantom next. He's a lot bigger, so I gotta get him a little bit more adjusted. This is the Phantom. He's got the blade. Again, I could have gone all out on these models, and I might still come back to them, but just to get them finished. And I'll show them off in a game coming up soon. That's the Phantom. And then, last but not least, we have the Warlock, which is essentially the same body as the Phantom, except with a different head and a different gun. And yeah, next to the regular figures, they look pretty massive. And if you've seen, I don't know what's on the Warhammer Plus website, streaming service, if you want to call it that, it's a bit of a joke, but they do have, what's it called? They have an animation called the, I can't remember now, sorry, it's the one with the Tau. There's a one where it follows like a special ops team of Tau who are going to go try and capture an Eldar who's down on the planet. In one of the final scenes of the animation, which isn't that long, it looks like Phantom Titans come out of a gigantic portal, and they just have it out with a couple of Imperial Titans, and that animation is what I'm envisioning these guys hopefully doing in upcoming games. So if you haven't seen that, look out for that video. It's coming up eventually. But yeah, that is the second thing of what I've gotten completed in this little round of workbench, and I'll be back with the third and a couple other things. So here's the last new thing that I've done in the last week or two. Some 28mm bolt action tanks. I have 3 German vehicles, 3 Russian vehicles, 2 IS-2s, a KV-1. The plastic kit also comes with the KV-2 turret. I got a plastic King Tiger, And then we got the plastic martyr. Yeah, it's like I said, plastic king tiger. And then it was supposed to be a plastic Yag tiger, but they sent me the resin one. Not sure what happened there. But anyway, I painted it up because what the hell, it looks fine. And, you know, the heft of it is actually pretty nice. I took out my airbrush and I tried airbrushing the camo on, but it was a bit of a nightmare. I don't like airbrushing. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so I got the first KV2. I did some weathering on it. Let me zoom in to normal size so you can see it. Did some weathering on it. If I, you know, trying these new techniques that I'm not used to. A bit of dust on there. That's number 432. The second one is 441. And exactly the same. Pretty much a mirror. Then there's the KD1, which I've always wanted for my early war, mid-war stuff. Just a plastic kit, nothing special. It's got the KV2 turret. Again, nothing special. The Martyr's a little different because it has a crew that comes with it. Really like this vehicle. It's just so odd looking. Some of the German, some of the vehicles that the Germans used, especially like the was it the 21st Panzer, that he used all captured French vehicles, and then there's these captured Russian. Well, it's a T-38 hull, but a captured Russian gun on it. Some of these weird, awkward-looking vehicles, for some reason, they're my favorite. They just look so bizarre, and I really like them. Unlike the sleek and the sleek Panther. Although I like the Panther, I like the weird things too. And one day I really hope to do a 21st Panzer division with all the unique vehicles. Here's the Plastic King Tiger, number 334. Really nice kit. This is a really nice tank. I really like this kit. And then last one, not least, the resin Yag Panther. Now you can see some of my errors in airbrushing there. I had to kind of cover it up with wet blending, but didn't work out quite so well. The airbrush, this was the last tank to be airbrushed, and by then the airbrush was just not having any more of it. So that's what I got painted as well. I got these painted in about 2 days, so, you know, not a bad haul. And plus, each one of these models was a physical box I had on my shelf that I had purchased. So, actually, the IS-2s were also from the big mystery box, that I had the unboxings for. I think these two are from that. I think this one was as well. Actually, maybe they all were. I can't remember. Everything but the King Tiger. Everything but the King Tiger and the Yag Panther, I think, might have been from the mystery boxes that I got from Warlord Games. But anyway, essentially, it's all the same to me. It's stuff that I've spent money on that I finally have painted and finished. And that really makes me happy. So now I can do the Tank War supplement for Bolt Action, or I can play What a Tanker. I've got lots of vehicles now. I already had a KV2, a resin KV2, and a plastic Tiger tank as part of my Bolt Action forces for 28mm, and now I have a lot more. So yeah, I've got just videos almost 30 minutes long. I just got one more thing or two more things to show, but they're not new projects. They're just finalizing old projects. Be right back. So we're back. So first of the old projects, there's two of them. There's another one sitting right here in this box. But these were 3D printed by myself. ACW naval figures that I printed off maybe 3-4 months ago. Very excited to get started on a rule set called something in Iron, Oak and Iron. I can't remember exactly. Or Age of Iron. Anyway, I'll show you the rule book in a video when I'm playing a battle report. But I found that rule book and I thought the rules were really cool. The guys on Little Wars TV played a scenario from that rule set, or a demo game. Very basic game, but still I like basic because it means that it's not time consuming. So I printed these off and I painted them up, and I wasn't happy with them. Initially, I didn't want them to be on any kind of bases. These are on MDF bases, but I didn't want them to be on any bases at all, or maybe they'd be on clear acrylic bases. But I had a hell of a time getting the boats to lie flat. Now, the smaller boats, like these ones here, they lay flat pretty much okay. But the rest of them warped. So the reason why they're on MDF bases and not clear acrylic bases is I had to epoxy glue them down to something. And even then, you can kind of see it's starting to warp the base a little bit. Now, I've done the hot water trick. I've done all that stuff several times. it works for a couple of days and then it starts to warp again. So they're hardcore epoxied down onto these bases now, and I didn't know what colors to make the base. I know traditionally if you're playing a riverine game, it's basically going to be brown water or greenish kind of colored water, not this kind of bright, vibrant blue. But I settled for the blue because, that's where my painting skill is at for painting water. It's actually very difficult to get good looking water painted without the actual texture that you can dry brush. But here's the Union fleet that I have, just a few ships, 4 ships, and then the Confederate ships. There's 3 ironclads and 3 wooden gunboats, or cottonclads, whatever they're called. And the only thing that I did was I painted the base a little bit better, and I put these smokestacks, the smoke coming off them. And, actually doesn't look that bad now when you put the smoke on. The last thing to do is to put a little flag on here so you know which nationality it is. And that'll be that. But I just wanted to show you that I got a little bit more done on these, and now instead of being mildly disgusted at them, I'm actually fairly happy. Okay, so that's that, and I'll show you one last thing. I did a minor thing too. So I'm back. Now again, I have my camera way back, and just so I can get these all in view. These are my 3mm Ancients, Romans, for the game recently came out. What's it called? Strength and Honor, maybe? Can't remember. I'm terrible with names, recalling names on the fly. But anyway, it's essentially I had 3D printed these again and put them down on their bases. Now the base sizes are wrong because I didn't have the rule book when I ordered the bases. So I'm just going to have to live with it. I have lots more armies to paint for this game. I've got a Gaulish or Germanic army. I've got a Macedonian or Pyrrhic army on the way in. So I got lots of that stuff to do. But these are the 2 armies for the Battle of Pharsalus. Now this is Pompey's army and this is Caesar's army. Now I think I have these in the right order. Pompey's is a little easier to realize than Caesar's is. Essentially, Pompey has lots of cavalry, so I just have 3 bases of Roman cavalry. I got the 1st and 3rd Legion, and what's that? That's the 17th, 16th, and 17th Legion. So these are 4 Roman legions. And then we got the Syrian legions, the 1st and 2nd. We got the Macedonian legions, the 1st and 2nd. The Sicilian legion, the Galatian legion, and the Cretan legion. These are the legions that Pompey had under his control at Pharsalus. I got the names of all of these legions not just from the internet. From the internet, it was really easy on the internet to find out what legions Caesar had. It was very difficult to figure out what legions exactly Pompey had. Now I got these from the rule book, or the scenario book rather, for the Great Campaigns. It's a board and chit. It's a chit war game. Oh my god! Here I am again recalling names of things off the fly. It's a Great Battles of History, the Roman Civil Wars, and in the scenario booklet it tells you what legions that Pompey had. Now whether that's right or not historically, I don't know, but I went by exactly what it said. So that's where I got all these Cretan, Galatian, Sicilian, Macedonians from. So that's the Pompeian force. You can see it's 11 legions and 3 cohorts, or whatever they're called, of cavalry. I know he had like a lot more cavalry historically, but for this game I didn't want to make any more than 3. So I think the Caesar being outnumbered 3-1 in cavalry seems about right, seeing as about each base is around 2 or 3 or 4,000 men. Now for Caesar, he has got only the single Roman cavalry unit, but he's got the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th legions. Now the 9th and 10th being extremely elite. And then they got the brand new 27th Legion. So it's on a big base with full cohorts. It's got the 10 cohorts, all full strength, much like all of Pompey's. But then Caesar has the hard campaign-driven veteran elite legions. Now these 2, the 9th and 10th, are elite. The rest are veterans, whereas I think all these are basically either raw or normal. I can't remember how it goes in the book. But these are the lowest and middle, and these are the highest and elite. Apart from him, he's low. He's a conscript legion. So that is Caesar's force. Now it looks the disparity in figures looks kind of funky here. Now on the tabletop, I'm not exactly sure how that'll work, but if I take a Roman legion, Pompeian legion versus a Roman legion, you can see the size difference, but I think the stats-wise that this legion is actually far superior to them, especially for maneuverability. So I'm hoping when I play this game for the first time, it's not a Rumpelstomp for Pompey, because he does have quite a large army. Now I still do need to paint up the skirmishers. There's quite a lot of skirmishers I have to paint for both these forces, and a couple of leader stands. But that's where I got the the legions named, and yeah, and that's it for the workbench. This was all done this was all done about under 2 weeks. I've currently painted since from that 2 week period till now. I've painted a lot more, so you'll see them on a future update. And thanks for your understanding. Sorry with the long video, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.